Hey everyone, welcome back to ATX VGC. You're here today with Gemz and Nibbs, and we are going to be talking a little bit about our Pokemon Multibattle League draft team. So this is the team builder for week 4 against Team Regal, and Team Regal is piloted by Aaron and Bloody, and Aaron's actually the owner of the league and a good friend of Nibbs. Isn't that right, Nibbs?
Me and Aaron, we are friends, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're super excited to play them. They've got an interesting team. We're going to go through kind of what their team looks like and some things that we expect to see from it, as well as some of our Pokemon and specifically why we chose them. There's some interesting choices on here, some things you might not see in VGC. If this is your first time here for Multibattle League content, we're participating in a draft league. So we went through a draft and drafted all these Pokemon. There's different tiers for each Pokemon, and we're only allowed in this league to Dynamax our Gigantamax Pokemon. So for our team, we only have one choice. It's pretty easy to know who it's going to be. It's always going to be Lapras. And then for our opponents, they actually have 2 Gigantamax Pokemon, and Nibbs is actually going to go ahead and take us through the first part of their team right now, starting off with their S-tier Mon.
Yeah, so their first Pokemon is Necrozma Duskman, which is a pretty cool Pokemon. I think the coolest thing about it is that it looks like an even better Solgaleo.
Yeah. Aesthetically very pleasing.
Yeah, it's really cool. So its ability that it gets is called Prism Armor, which means that this Pokemon receives 3/4 damage from super effective attacks, which makes it pretty hard to hit this thing. Its stats are pretty insane. Its physical attack reaches 157 base stat, that's super high.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so a couple of cool moves that Necrozma Duskman can get is Expanding Force, and it also has access to Trick Room.
Yeah, and despite Expanding Force being a special attack, I think that's one thing we should really be looking out for, because they have Indeedy, so they have a way to auto set that psychic terrain
Right.
and get spread damage off against us right away.
Yeah, and its special attack really isn't that low either. It's actually 113 base, so you can definitely run this thing as a mixed attacker.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So their next Pokemon is one of their G-Max Pokemon. It's G-Max Grimsnark, who I have used a ton, and I absolutely love it. There's many different ways you can run Grimsnark. Oftentimes you'll see it as a prankster Pokemon, setting up dual screens with Reflect and Light Screen. It also has access to other priority attacks such as Sucker Punch. Another cool prankster move that it gets would be like Thunder Wave, and a lot of cool moves like that.
Yeah.
Grimsnark is easily one of my favorite Pokemon. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's super disruptive, and like when you look at their team, you see a Grimsnark as well as I'll preview a Mon I'll be talking about later, Mudsdale. You might expect some like self-swagger shenanigans. Just running with that ability from Mudsdale, where it will ignore the confusion, will bypass all the confusion hits. But there's one thing that's really important about this league, because you can't Dynamax non-Gigantamax Pokemon. That Mudsdale looks way less scary in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's one like potential strat to look out for. But with us being pretty heavily physical attackers, I'm not sure that they want to run Swagger. Waste a move slot on Grimsnark for that.
Right. So so the next Pokemon that we're going to talk about here is another A-tier Pokemon that they have, is a very common VGC Pokemon known as Dragopol. One of the really cool things about Dragopol is its ability Clear Body. It prevents other Pokemon from lowering this Pokemon's stat stages. So no Intimidate. That doesn't work. The only real way to lower its attack is if you Will-O-Wisp it. Or I guess if you have like a Wheezing with neutralizing gas or something, I believe that works as well.
Yeah, or Mold Breaker would also bypass that.
Right. Yeah, so one thing about Dragopol is our team... So Dragopol's base attack is 120, and this is another Pokemon that you can kind of run as either physical or special if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Its base special attack is 100, and I think the special side of things here is actually kind of scary for our team, as it hits a lot of things our team's not very especially defensive, and that kind of makes Dragopol a lot more scary. Jemmy, I think you have something to say about that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think when we were originally talking about this, we kind of anticipated them potentially running special Dragopol, like not being locked into like a 2-turn stab ghost move into our Solgaleo is probably something that they're interested in. So likely going to be running Shadow Ball. The other thing that's worth noting, you talked about the clear body, but I also think that this might be a week where they might go Infiltrator, given the fact that we have a Gigantamax Lapras, and they know that we're going to be playing with screens kind of for as long as we want to. So I think that's one thing to keep an eye out on, and it's one of the reasons we bring another Pokemon we'll be talking about later. In case they are Infiltrator, we're looking to get some Intimidates down onto that Dragopol. Again, it's probably going to be special for that reason. But on the upside of that, if they end up going a mix set with like Dragon Darts, U-turn, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt or something, then we're in a better position to kind of handle that with both the Intimidate and the other secret tech that I will wait to reveal later.
So while we're on the abilities of Dragopol, I know we already talked about 2 of them, but this is a Pokemon that actually gets 3 pretty unique abilities. Cursed Body is also a pretty good one. It's not used very often, but it can be pretty annoying, especially in a format where there's 6 Pokemon instead of just 4. The Cursed Body actually, if this Pokemon is hit by an attack, there is a 30% chance that it gets disabled. So
yeah, in a meta where there's way less things Dynamaxing to avoid like choice lock issues, it could definitely come up. I feel like Infiltrator is kind of my hunch for this week given Lapras, but Curse Body is a really interesting one, especially in a format like this where you're allowed to run more than one of the same items. So like we could have 2 choice scarfs, we could have 2 choice bands, 2 choice specs. So yeah, if you hit into that and you're choice locked, you have to switch out. And if you're unfortunate enough to where you can't switch out, you're struggling the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah, so one last thing to talk about with Dragopol is its base speed is 142, which is, I mean, it outspeeds pretty much everything in the meta.
Yeah, it's very fast.
So the next Pokemon on their list is actually kind of sort of 2 Pokemon. It's Indeedy, and they have access to both male and female Indeedy. So they actually are a little bit different, and that's why I say it's kind of sort of 2 Pokemon. So the male form gets Imprison and Trick Room, which is, I don't know if you guys have seen our what was it, our first week when we went.
Yeah, week 1. Check it out right here.
Yeah, where we went hard Trick Room mode. So they could Imprison Trick Room us, and that could make them outspeed us for the rest of the battle, basically. So one thing that both Indeedy, male and female, get, which is pretty cool, is Fake Out, which is cool, but at the same time you might not see it because the main ability that you're going to see with Indeedy here would be a Psychic Surge that prevents that kind of thing from happening.
Yeah, and there's no way they don't run Psychic Surge. And additionally, I don't think that we're not looking at bringing any Pokemon that aren't grounded this week.
Right.
As I look back through and double checking our team builder, it's like, yeah, no, we're not bringing anything that's everything we have is grounded, so they could not Fake Out with Psychic Terrain up. So I'm less worried about that as I am about the expanding force coming.
Yeah,
on.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So as Gemma said, Indeedy also gets access to expanding force, and if they're running the male Indeedy form, it's going to hit just a little bit harder, as the male Indeedy's special attack is 105 versus the female's is 95. The cool thing, however, about female Indeedy is that it gets Follow Me, which is really cool to have access to redirection. And a good reason that they would want to have redirection is because of their other Gigantamax, who is the next Pokemon that we'll talk about, is Gigantamax Kingler. So the really, really cool thing about Gigantamax Kingler is its G-Max move, otherwise known as Foam Burst, which actually, I think it's a 100% chance, right? It happens every time.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed proc. It's not a chance like I know we didn't talk about Max Snooze before, but
yeah.
Grimsnarl's G-Max move is only a 50% chance per mon to essentially put them on a yawn. In the case of Kingler, it's 100% chance that it's gonna have its effect. So
it's gonna lower the opponent's Pokemon speed by 2 stages, both of them.
Which is basically like giving yourself a Trick Room. I mean, not a Trick Room, a Tailwind. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's something we definitely have to watch out for, and at least be able to switch and move around and maneuver.
Yeah, so Kingler has access to the abilities Hyper Cutter, Shell Armor, and Sheer Force. But I don't see any reason why you would not just go Life Orb Sheer Force to get even more attack. So Sheer Force, this Pokemon's attack with secondary effects have 1.3 times power, and it nullifies the effects. So I don't know how Sheer Force works with Foam Burst. I know Foam Burst obviously still works.
Yeah, I think that it can't overwrite the Gmax move effects, but it would overwrite the secondary effect of the Life Orb of losing HP. So I believe it doesn't drop HP when it uses those, but that's something that we haven't actually tested on Cart, that we might do before we go into the battle. So
right. So Gemma, if you want to go over the next half of their team.
Yeah, I'm going to be covering the back half. Their last B tier Pokemon is a Pokemon that is not super familiar in VGC, but is, I think, super common in singles in Tangrowth. So
we have seen it on our Monday friendlies, I will say real fast. It is true.
Yeah, we have seen it on our Monday friendlies. I think there's also a video of, like, Wolf and Aaron doing, like, basically, like, UU.
Oh, the no top 100 Pokemon.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Aaron's team actually had the Tangrowth. So Tangrowth is a big old physical wall, 100 base HP, 125 base defense. Some things we got to keep an eye out for: Rage Powder. Obviously, adding redirection against our team is really powerful because Dracovish's Fish's Rend is doubled when it hits first. But or when it moves before the target moves. So if the target uses Follow Me or Rage Powder and we hit into that slot, then it does go ahead and do only half of the amount of damage that it would have otherwise. And because that Rage Powder is +2 priority, in addition to Indeedy's Follow Me previously, that's something we've got to keep an eye out for. But yeah, mostly they're as a physical wall as opposed to an offensive presence. The next Pokemon shouldn't be unfamiliar to us. It is Scorch. This is the non-Gigantamax form. We're not playing Gigantamax Scorch in back-to-back weeks. If y'all watched our Multibattle League last week, which I will go ahead and say again is going to be right up here, you'll see what Scorch can do. It is able to kind of get some coil boosts up. It's got a high base attack at 115. Pretty decent in terms of its HP at 100. Defense is a little lackluster at 65, but it has the ability to coil and raise that. So a couple things we got to keep an eye out for is some of their abilities are Flash Fire, which would basically, if our one of our fire type attacks go into that slot specifically, it boosts their next fire type attack. And they don't take any damage. The other abilities are White Smoke, which is similar to Dragopol's Clear Body, where it's going to stop the drops in terms of we won't be able to intimidate it or do anything along those lines with any of our Gmax or with any of our max moves. And then the final one is Flame Body, which probably we won't see, just a 30% chance of burning with a contact move. We are now we're going to be taking a look into their next C tier Pokemon in Rodon Frost. Rodon Frost. I don't really know a whole lot about what Rodon Frost does. It feels like the worst Rodon.
I think it gets Blizzard.
I believe you're correct that it gets Blizzard as its like one ice move, and then it does what the rest of the Rodoms do in terms of, it's got Nasty Plot, it's got Will-O-Wisp. Actually, does it get Will-O-Wisp?
No, it does not.
No, it does. It does. All Rodoms
it does.
Get it. Yeah, you get it through the original Rodom.
So one cool thing that isn't really too noticed because this is more of a VGC oriented channel. Mm-hmm. The Rodon Frost does get Defog there. Yeah. That's good for our opponent and bad for us because our only Gmax Pokemon is Lapras, which as we all know, it gets Gmax Resonance. And oftentimes, more than not, you'll see us have probably have Light Clay, which we're expecting to get our screens up for 8 turns there, and Defog will clear those away.
Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But in terms of like having 6 Pokemon that they want to bring, I think Rodon Frost is probably on the lower. It's one of their C tier mons. I don't anticipate seeing it. But it's worth noting like what it does. They could go for like Disquake with Mudsdale. I guess high horsepower. Because Mudsdale, I think it's just better to run high horsepower generally. So speaking of which, their next C tier Pokemon, Mudsdale. So Mudsdale, I think is seen a lot of success in VGC 2020 specifically because of Dynamax. We've seen several teams get to number 1 on the ladder in the very early meta using Mudsdale. It has access to like 2 great abilities in Own Tempo and Stamina. A third ability that is situationally interesting as well with Inner Focus, where it can be immune to Fake Out and Intimidate. Own Tempo says the Pokemon basically can't be confused. It's also immune to Intimidate. So, the ability to drop its stats and try and confuse it, that's where some of the self-swagger from the Grimsnarl might come in. But again, because you can't Dynamax it, you're not getting as much out of it. Stamina is also, I believe, a signature ability for Mudsdale, where every time it gets hit by a move, it's raised by 1 stage of defense. So it's able to kind of spiral that defense. It has a base 100 defense, which is nothing to scoff at. But unfortunately, its special defense is not quite as good at 85, and it's very slow at base 35 speed. So I'm not quite as concerned about this because Lapras would just kind of clean it up. The last Pokemon on Team Regal's team is Berserker. So this is an interesting Pokemon. I think that they took it specifically for its ability Steely Spirit, which allows them to boost their own steel moves as well as their allies' steel moves by 1.5 times. So it's basically like another stab bonus. So that would work on the Duskman. So the ability to kind of stack that, you get the stab bonus, you get the Steely Spirit bonus. It can kind of start to spiral from there. But again, it feels pretty situationally. I don't think Steel looks like a particularly strong typing against us, given our team composition. But we're getting ready to actually talk about our own team. So that is Team Regal's 8 Pokemon, really 9, because they have both Indeedy forms that we have to kind of prep separately for, but they can only bring 1. They can't bring both Indeedys. That would be kind of busted. So next, I'm going to be walking us through the first 3 Pokemon. We're allowed to bring 8 Pokemon to every battle. I don't know if y'all have seen any of our videos before, but again, I'm going to plug them one more time. Check them out. The battle itself, both Nibbs and I bring 4 Pokemon, and we choose which 3 to go ahead and bring into battle. Every week, we've only prepped 6. We haven't prepped 8. We've had kind of 2 strategic bluff mons every time. So I'm going to go ahead and start to talk a little bit about our Pokemon and their spreads. So first up, we have Hippie Hollow, who is our Solgaleo. So we named Hippie Hollow after the iconic Austin beach, I guess we'll call it, because he's a sun-based Pokemon, right? So Solgaleo, this week we are running Weakness Policy Solgaleo. We've been waiting for the strategy for a while. We're super excited to try it, and we hope that it gets off. Because of kind of the prevalence of terrain on their teams, the moves we've decided to go for was Steel Roller, Psychic Fangs, Flare Blitz, and Protect is the final one. So Steel Roller, obviously, will go ahead and wipe the floor of the Psychic terrain, and we don't have to worry as much about Expanding Force. Psychic Fangs is able to hit several Pokemon on their team pretty hard, but its bigger impact is that if their Grimmsnarl is running screens, we're able to break those screens. And then Flare Blitz is super effective against their Necrozma. So this spread, the 96 is to kind of outspeed exactly what we need to outspeed. And give me one sec while I pull up my notes for that, actually. Yep, our Solgaleo. Yeah, so we KO. The attack stat is specifically to go ahead and KO the opposing Necrozma after it's taken bulldoze damage from our Dracovish, who's coming up next. So we can self-proc our own Weakness Policy and then KO with Flare Blitz there. So that's enough to pick up the KO, and that's specifically what that spread's for. Up next, I already alluded to it, we have our very own Nibbs' least favorite Pokemon on the team, but one of my favorites. We have Dracovish, who is Ladybird, named after Ladybird Lake here in Austin, Texas. Yeah, that's something you definitely don't want to be seeing in Ladybird Lake, and if you do... Get on your paddleboard and go.
The alligator that people have been talking about that they spotted there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Dracovish.
It's Dracovish.
Yeah, so we're going to be running a very similar set to what we've done previously. We're running Adamant, Choice Scarf, Dracovish. We've got 252 attack because why not get the most amount of attack possible? We got 136 Spadef, which is designed to guarantee a 2-hit KO from Expanding Force. So we live a Specs Indeedy Expanding Force with this, as well as any Necrozma Expanding Forces. So then the 100 speed is just enough with the Choice Scarf and Tailwind. Actually, no, sorry, we're not running Tailwind this week. Just enough to go ahead and outspeed everything that Dracovish is meant to kill on this team. So the moveset, this is where we're getting a little spicy. We've got Vicious Rend. That is the most standard. Every Dracovish will have that move. It KOs so many things as long as it goes first. The second move is Bulldoze, so we're able to go ahead and get spread damage down. It's super effective against our own Solgaleo. It will proc the weakness policy, and because of Solgaleo's ability, Full Metal Body, the speed stat won't actually be dropped on Solgaleo, but our opponent's speed stats will both be dropped. And then, again, we have our weakness policy up, and our Hippie Hollow can start to sweep. The last two moves are some coverage moves. We have Rock Slide for Scorch, just in case. We learned the hard way last week. Don't leave yourself open to not having a rock move against a Pokemon that's 4 times weak to rock. And then finally we have Crunch, which hits super effective against several of their Pokemon. If, for some reason we end up paralyzed or our Choice Scarf is knocked off, and Crunch will end up doing more. All of those moves, with the exception... Actually, no, sorry, just Vicious Rend and Crunch are boosted by Strong Jaw. So, up next, we have a very interesting set with our Whimsicott, whose name is Peace, after Peace Park. It's a park pretty close to UT here in Austin, Texas. So, all of our Pokemon's names are named after things here in Austin, Texas. Peace, this is the weirdest set I think I've ever used for a Whimsicott. We're not going Prankster. We don't need Tailwind this week. We are going Infiltrator on the off chance that they might just be running the screens, or if they run Substitute on their Dragopol. If they run Substitute on their Dragopol, then this Life Orb Whimsicott, with our 52 special attack with Moonblast, will KO, I believe that is a no bulk investment on the Dragopol. That's enough to KO. So just right off the bat. We've got Moonblast, we've got Energy Ball, we have Encore as well, and the off chance we end up in a position where maybe they set Tricker and we can Encore it. Actually, no, we're not priority. I take that back. Encore is more used for if someone's going for setup moves, or if they go for screens. We can Encore them to continue to click the Reflect button until they switch out. And if it's the last of that Pokemon on that side, then even better. It's basically useless and we can ignore it for 3 turns before targeting it down. But yeah, this was a super interesting set. This is built by the whole team. I'm going to credit real quick. Built by Chase, by Tiki. He wasn't able to join for the filming of the Teambuilder this week, but both Nibbs and I were texting him about ideas, and he kind of took a lot of our sort of wackier ideas and brought them together. So with that, Nibbs, do you want to take the last 3 Pokemon and talk a little bit about them?
Yeah. So, did you cover? I think you covered 4 actually.
No, I left you Lapras, Torcat, and Dusclops.
Oh, okay.
I did it out of order of our script. I'm sorry. I was looking at it in the pace.
No, it's all good. I
realized that.
For some reason, I thought you covered Lapras there for a second, but
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. Our own G-Max Pokemon, the only one that we have on our team, we nicknamed it Lamar after Lamar Street, which is actually one of my favorite streets to go down. There's karaoke night and half-price burgers, phenomenal. Anyway, so G-Max Lapras is this week we decided to go with the Assault Vest set with max HP. max special attack. We had Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Thunder, and Sheer Cold, which is an Oko move. I believe it has a 30% chance to hit. The Thunder is there for to switch up the terrain, so that way we can get rid of their own psychic terrain. And we have the Freeze Dry there to hit water type super effectively. Did they have... They actually don't have any... Yeah, they have the Kingler.
Yeah, Kingler. That's specifically for Kingler, yeah.
Yep. So the Freeze Dry also allows us to have the max resonance there, as we've talked about before, for our screens to set up the Aurora Veil. Can you click back for me, please?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. And then we also have the Hydro Pump, which can set the rain for us and allow us to hit harder with our own Dracovish as well as our Lamar Lapras. So next we have...
can I say one thing about the Lamar? Yeah, the other thing that's really nice with that, given the fact that we aren't running Sunsteel Strike on our Hippie Hollow, having access to the Max Lightning lets us set another terrain to use our...
yeah, right.
Yeah, our Steel Roller. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong set, right?
Yeah, you're looking...
I'm looking at the wrong one, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
This is the right one. Yeah, Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Thunder, Sheer Cold. That's the right one.
Yep, and then we can just Steel Roller again.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a really cool tech for that.
Yeah, so the next two Pokemon I'm going to talk about here are the reason that I'm going to say hashtag Team NFE, not fully evolved, in the comment section below. So first up we have the Torracat, also known as Mean Eye, named after the mean-eyed cat, which I'm not too familiar with, but I believe Gemma is. Yeah,
it's a bar that's right on 6th Street. It's not like Dirty 6th, which is like Austin speak for like what you think of when you think of 6th Street. It's like 6th Street almost to the highway. It's right
nice
near
part
like
of 6th.
Yeah, it's not even like around other bars. It's just like a historic Austin bar. I don't know, like my work had a holiday party there like 5 years ago, so I felt like it fit really well with Torracat as the mean-eyed cat.
Yeah, so the cool thing about the Incineroar line in general is the fact that you can stack Intimidates or also Parting Shot, which is pretty cool. I know we talked about Mudsdale having own tempo and not being able to use Intimidate, but if it is for whatever reason stamina, then we can get the Intimidate off and then Parting Shot, then switch it back in, get another Intimidate off, and you can just kind of do a lot of things there. But also they have a lot of physical attackers such as Necrozma, Gmax, Grimsnark. For whatever reason, if they're not Clear Body Dragopol, that's a physical attacker typically as well.
Also Kingler.
Kingler, I think even the Spaghetti Boy there, help me out with the name.
Growth. Yeah, it is more. It's primarily supported, but it has like I think a base 100 attack, so it could it could run a Power Whip for Lapras.
Yep. So that's mostly what our Mean Eye is good for there, but it also has Will-O-Wisp, which kind of does the same thing that I just talked about with the stacking Intimidates and Parting Shot, only it kind of does it right in one fell swoop there with having the attack stat, I believe.
Yeah, it has physical attack stat, as long as they're not Guts, which none of their Pokemon can be Guts. So.
Oh my goodness, yeah. That Guts is horrifying when you have Will-O-Wisp on your team.
Yeah. The other thing that's kind of cool here, do you want to talk about that special move that's sitting there on the Torracat?
Yeah, so oddly enough, we actually have Overheat on our Mean Eye there, and I believe that was actually put there for the Necrozma. Gemma, I think you know a little bit more about the calc there than I do.
Yeah, let me pull up the calc real quick. There's not any specific amount that's in the... obviously, we don't have any investment into special attack, but what I can say is that we specifically UV'd this to live a -1 Photon Geyser. So it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO into our Mean Eye. So if we're able to go ahead and get an Intimidate down, and then we can live a Photon Geyser, and then we could Parting Shot back out and pivot into something that can take a Photon Geyser, like maybe our Komal or maybe even our Hippie Hollow. Like those are options that we have.
Yeah.
The ability to kind of cycle through, it's fast. It's gonna be faster than their Necrozma as well at 192 speed.
So one thing to add to that as well, another thing to note is that Torracat is actually pure fire. It doesn't have access to being a dark type.
Yes.
So moves like Photon Geyser do actually affect it, as well as Expanding Force.
Yeah, and I believe we specifically EV'd it to live an Expanding Force from non-boosting item Indeedy into another Expanding Force from Necrozma. But actually, no, that sounds like too much. I think we EV'd it to live one Necrozma Expanding Force.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like if they're going for the special move, we have the 112 Spidef specifically for that. So, yeah, the EV Light's definitely coming in clutch in this one, doubling the 50 base defense and special defense on our Torracat.
So our last Pokemon is something you see pretty often. I'm not sure if... have we brought this every week so far?
We did not bring it, I believe, last week. Yeah, we didn't bring it last week because we... No? I'm trying to remember. We can...
It's fine.
You should go check out the video of last week's video. Again,
check out all of our battles right here to see if we have brought Dusclops to every battle so far.
Yeah, I mean, Dusclops, it's so great because it's such a versatile Pokemon, and it's so bulky with that EV Light. It's
very, very bulky. That being said, we nicknamed it Komal. I'm not exactly sure what Komal is.
Yeah, I can take that one. Komal's the street where the Texas State Cemetery is on, so I thought that's here in East Austin. I thought it was just like a cool reference of like, okay, yeah, it's right there on Komal. Dusclops being a ghost type, yeah, that was kind of the coolest connection I could come up with.
So our Komal is it actually has Frisk, which is a really cool ability. It allows us to see what items our opponent's Pokemon is using upon switch in for us. So our EV spread is actually just max HP, max Spadef, and then we dumped 4 into defense there. It's careful nature, which is, I think that's kind of sort of common if it's not. I think careful is pretty much what it is, right? Or relaxed, maybe.
Yeah, some people will run like relaxed or somewhere around there. Just depending on which one you want to boost. But again, you know, we're kind of where we need to be. Careful helps boost the Spadef in this case, which is nice.
Yeah. So the move pool that we decided to give it, or the moves that we decided to give it, was Trick Room, Imprison, Shadow Ball, and Nightshade. Something to note about that, which is kind of wild, and I referenced this in our stream last Monday, I believe. Or
wait, you're telling them that we're shooting this after we...
I referenced this in the future.
It's a reference at some point. Go watch through all the ATX VGC Twitch videos, and you'll find out exactly when it is, and you can figure out if we filmed this before or after the battle. Who knows?
Yeah. So anyway, we predicted that the Dragopol was going to be special, which would mean that it probably has Shadow Ball. So if we imprison Shadow Ball, we're not going to have that problem.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of shuts down what Dragopol can really do for a majority of our team. The other thing that's really nice with that is that having Shadow Ball gives us a super low... Like, Shadow Ball from a Dusclops is doing no damage, right? We can agree on that? It will proc the weakness policy of our Hippie Hollow with no chance of lowering the Spadef thanks to the full metal body. So that's another way if our Dracovish Bulldoze tech does not work for some reason, if they manage to keep us in a position where we can't do it, this is another way where we can get that weakness policy proc and start to sweep.
Yeah. And I'd say for that very reason, proccing the weakness policy, we actually have our IV spread set to 0 special attack as well as 0 attack.
Yeah. We don't actually want to be doing any damage with it. It's stab, but I mean, what is, I don't know, Dusclops base special attack? I don't think anyone's looked that up ever.
I don't think it's worth talking about.
No, it's not. Maybe. It's not worth the time we've already spent on it. But yeah, that's our 6 for this upcoming week. We're super excited to play Team Regal, Aaron and Bloody. But yeah, go ahead, Nibbs.
I just said they're cool people.
Yeah, they're really cool people.
They're cool.
Yeah, Bloody does a great job of kind of keeping the Multibattle League server going and the dot going and making sure everyone's pairing and playing on a weekly basis. So super excited to play them. Good luck to them. If you're seeing this video, that means that probably tomorrow, pending video issues, you will see the actual Multibattle League. So this is going to be coming out on either Saturday or Sunday of the week, and then the Multibattle League will come out on the following day. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this style of team builder versus say our team builder from last week, then like let us know. We're trying and experimenting a bunch of different stuff right now. We want to give you all kind of what you want. Like last week was Chase and I just like freewheeling team building like the entire process. This was a much more like concentrated. We didn't quite have the time to like sit down and all be on a call while we built, so we did this piecemeal throughout the week via text, and then compiled it specifically for this video. But thanks everyone for coming out. If y'all liked this, if you want to leave a like, that'd be awesome. Help the channel out, help more people see this. If you want to subscribe, also would be incredible. You make sure you can get this battle. You can make sure you get tomorrow's the actual battle itself as opposed to the Multi-Battle League, and keep coming back for our ATX VGC friendlies. We will be posting all of our Monday night battles here on YouTube if you happen to miss them on the Twitch stream, which is Monday nights, twitch.tv/ATX_VGC. We go on at 7 Central.
Yeah, so one thing I do want to add to that really fast is if you enjoy our Monday night friendlies and you want to participate in them, then you should join our Discord, as everybody that participates in our Monday night friendlies is a part of that community. Yeah,
for sure. We love to get new battlers on stream. I would love to have y'all. Our Discord's super fun and helpful, I think, for VGC players of all skill levels. But yeah, with that, you have any other closing thoughts, Nibbs?
I think that's, for the most part, it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for coming out, and have a great rest of your day.